There. Briefly didn't have audio, but now we're good. Briefly didn't have audio, but now we're good. Okay. Cool. See some people tuned in. Okay. And we're adjusting so that only followers and not spammers can follow. And I guess I don't need my phone in front of me since I can't go live on Instagram. Okay. Mercury is certainly in the microwave, everyone. Welcome to the Witchy Weather Report. I apologize for taking a couple minutes to get started because surprising, I guess, nobody. I've had some technical difficulties this morning, or just some surprise Facebook and Instagram difficulties. I'm not live on Instagram, and I'm actually going to take a quick moment to make a post on Instagram and say so. Let's do it. Post. Hello, beautiful humans. And the reel isn't recording either. Because of course it's not. Anyway, I'm about to pull some cards for everybody. Bear with me and we'll get started. Hello, beautiful humans. I was supposed to be live on Instagram today for the Witchy Weather Report. However, Facebook spontaneously revoked my access to do that. So please go tune in on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch at Sassafras Tarot. Okay, share. There we go. Here I am. Let's pull some cards. Let's do the thing. I apologize for my weirdness in getting started. How we all doing? It's a cat. Hey, Chaka. Hey, Shelby. Good meowing. Good meowing, everybody. All right, let's get a card deck. I've got my cute little shelfies next to me now. And I am picking out what deck I will be reading with today. And the Mystic Dream Tarot is calling to me. All right. Mystical Dream Tarot by Janet Piedelato, which hopefully I'm saying correctly. I think I took a stab at it. I think I'm doing okay. Is what I'll be reading with today. Look at this beautiful deck. I bought this because, as you may or may not know about me, I'm really into dream work and lucid dreaming. And this deck was created by somebody who had a knowledge and understanding of the tarot, but also directly channeled imagery from their dreams, which I think is really interesting. So some of the imagery is fairly traditional. Some of the imagery is very different. And it's kind of this like beautiful, like, unconscious or subconscious driven tarot deck, which I am very excited to be reading for you from. And I'm going to post, I'm going to just take a moment. I don't usually like to do this at the beginning of the streams where I'm like, hey, I'm posting about the stream, guys. But because Instagram isn't working today, because of course it's not, Mercury's in the microwave, I am taking a moment to just post in a few places about this stream. Okay, so live on Sassafras Tarot with the Witchy Weather Report. There, now that's in a few places. And now, y'all have my full attention. How we doing today? If you're tuned in, say hi. You can tune in the 3 places, not 4 places today, because Instagram has spontaneously revoked my ability to go live. They've made a new policy that you need a certain number of followers to go live, and I don't have it. And so though I have gone live every single month on Instagram for the last, I don't know, several years, I'm not allowed anymore. So if you tried to tune in on Instagram, welcome here to Facebook. You can also tune in on YouTube and Twitch. I am live in those 3 places today. And that's the deal, you know? That's what we got at the moment. And I'm reading today with The Mystical Dream Tarot by Janet Piedelato. I'm going to pull a card for everyone in just a minute, but first let's just take a moment and say hello. My name is Rory Kelly. I am a singer-songwriter, tarot reader, witch, and all-around personal growth nerd from Long Island, New York. I do the Witchy Weather Report once a month, usually the last Saturday or Sunday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I pull a card for the collective to guide us through our month, and then pull a card for as many people as I can get to in an hour. Let's do our standard 3 questions. Question number 1. I just edited the commenting ability because I think I might have some new friends coming over from Instagram today, since I spontaneously cannot go live on Instagram this morning. Thank you, Meta. Thank you for your completely unhelpful new policy. And I want everyone to be able to comment on this post. So, hello, welcome. Hey, Nancy. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. So if you would like a card, the secret code that we use is drop a cat in the chat. Put a cat emoji or write the word meow in the chat. Look at that. Nancy put a cat in the chat. Chaka put some cats in the chat. Shelby said good meowing. That is how to get a card if you would like a personal card for yourself, and you're welcome to ask a specific question or just let me pull a card generally. Question 1 for today. Where are you tuned in from? I am broadcasting live from Long Island, New York. This is my new unicorn habitat. Question number 2. What are you sipping on today? I am sipping on 7-Eleven water. Hydration checkpoint. Cheers. I also have some new moon water going in the other room because we just had a new moon in Cancer. So I have another one of these bottles has been just catching the vibe of the new moon for the last few nights. I'm going to use that as kind of manifestation water. Or I'm sorry, we didn't have a new moon in Cancer. I keep saying that like it's last month. We had a new moon in Leo. So it's a great time to redefine how you see yourself, how you feel about visibility, how you feel about being seen and being perceived. You have an opportunity for some growth there, or for some new redefinition of self there with this new moon in Leo. And question 3, most important question of the day. How are you feeling? I want the real answer, not the polite answer. We support each other on these broadcasts. We are a safe space. I am feeling, I believe the word that they used in 5th grade was frustrated. I am feeling frustrated because Went to start the Witchy Weather Report as always today, and Instagram has revoked my live access, not because I did anything, just because Instagram magically suddenly has a new policy that it didn't tell anyone about, that you can only go live with 1,000 followers or more. I guess like TikTok. So I'm only live in 3 places instead of 4 today. And my new exciting goal is to get 1,000 followers by the end of the month on both Instagram and TikTok. So if you're wherever you are tuned in, could you go follow me in those places? If you have an account at Sassafras Tarot, it's the same everywhere. It would mean a whole lot to me, and it would make it easier for me to bring the Witchy Weather Report to more places. I go live every month with the usually last weekend of the month, either the Saturday or Sunday, with Witchy Weather Report to help us all live better lives and catch the vibes and work with them. Ruh-roh. Hey, Carol, how are you? Hey, Jerry. Yes, no problem. Can't stay. Going to the street side showers. Okay, Margaret. So what I'll do is I'll pull a card for everyone right now, and I'll pull a card for you first so that you can get it in time. Tune in from my couch, doing embroidery, finish my coffee, tired, shedding my old self, delicious. Started writing about this before I said the thing about the new moon in Leo, reemerging, is met with reluctance in the retrograde. The new skin is raw. What a whole mood. The new skin is raw. I really feel that. Coffee, tuned in from Dover, Delaware, feeling a little scattered, need to focus. So your timing was perfect. I'm delighted. Okay. I'm doing one more final shuffle, and then I am pulling a card for everyone. Here we go. The card is, wow, look at this. This is the Wheel of Fortune in a traditional deck, but the card in this Mystic Dreamer deck is the Ouroboros. Usually depicted as a snake eating itself. This is actually like a lizard guy with some feet eating its own tail, and inside there is a sacred pyramid with all this little stuff, all these little crystals in it, in this like very special way. Like it looks almost like what I used to imagine the word tesseract looking like when I read A Wrinkle in Time. Probably someone more sciencey could tell me why this isn't like a tesseract, but that's the word that comes to mind. It just looks like something that it's like surrounding itself. And there is this sacred fire burning within that can power so much more than it knows. And the Wheel of Fortune indicates good things coming to you, but it's also this sense of things coming to you from within, you entering into your potential. And you do this by turning inward. Sometimes to create outward change, we must turn inward. When you turn inward, honoring yourself, thinking of what Shelby just said, shedding your old skin, shedding your old self, and you choose to honor yourself and honor the biggest, realest, most burning parts of you. When you choose to honor your realest self and your realest gifts, magic happens. And it appears like magic to those outside of you who haven't seen your gifts in their fullest potential yet. And then magic, what appears like magic to you, comes from the outside sources as people respond to your gifts. So we have this clear message here to own who you are and own your truest and realest self in ways that you never have before, and let the universe reward you for it. Let the universe teach you what it feels like to be your truest self, and finally get the fruits of that. Because it's hard to be our truest self, right? We grow up hearing be yourself, but then hearing all the ways we shouldn't actually be ourselves alongside that, right? Be yourself, not like that, not like that, right? When we choose to embrace the inner fire without knowing what the results will be, we just know that it's time to be true to ourselves. That's when the magic starts happening, and that's what we're being encouraged to do. And we find that things start happening like magic when we do that. And that is the energy here. That is the energy, the Ouroboros. Be one with yourself and watch how your external world changes. Embrace your realist self and watch how your external reality changes. Oh my God, Carol, it's your birthday today. Everybody send happy birthday energy to Carol. That's wonderful. Of course I'll pull you a card, my love. I love that. Okay, I'm pulling a card for Margaret right now. simply because Margaret is a regular. She's part of our Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club, and she can't stay. So she's getting a card right now first, since she can't stay, just so she has it. Margaret, your card is the Dreamer of Pentacles, the Dreamer. I want you to see this imagery here, especially this keyhole. It's about you dreaming your own reality, dreaming your own stability. Specifically, the dreamers in this deck, think about what that means, right? We're dreaming, we're visioning, we're creating for ourselves an idea. We don't yet know how to get from point A to point B, right? But we're ready to dream up the idea of what we want. And with Pentacles, this is about your stability, your time, money, energy, health, your core relationships, those things that make us feel stable when they are in alignment and make us feel completely unstable when they are not. You are dreaming up what it looks like to have a new, more stable reality. It's like a friend of mine, Dell, says, if you can't see it, you can't be it. You're creating the vision for yourself. You are visioning for yourself what it would feel like to be a little bit more stable. Again, financially, health-wise, mental health-wise, with your core relationships, in your home life, right? Those very core parts of our lives. What would it feel like for all of those parts to just feel a little more stable? And we have this rooster here representing confidence and audacity. You have to have the audacity to believe that you could. And we also have the crab here representing Cancer, ruled by the moon, indicating that it's like one part ego. We don't demonize ego on this broadcast. Your ego is your sense of self in this 3D reality. It's good for you to have a sense of self in your 3D reality. I am glad to know you as an individual human being with your individual gifts and individual self. Your ego, your sense of self, your sense of who you are, saying, yes, I do deserve this, as well as this inner knowing, this inner intuition, this inner giving, the part of you that gives freely and loves unconditionally. And the union of these two. The union of your ego, your sense of, yes, I deserve this too, right? And your sense of, and so does everybody else, and I want to be an instrument of healing. Those two things coming together are what is allowing you to dream up this new future for yourself, Margaret. So allow yourself to live in both, foot in both worlds, right? Foot in the world of honoring the self, truly, showing up for yourself, your truest self, and what you deserve. And a foot in the world that I think you flow into very easily of being someone who gives unconditional love, unconditional healing, unconditional kindness. And ask yourself, how can I turn that unconditional kindness so that I receive it too? And create greater stability for myself. That is the question. That is the question for you for the month of August. Everybody, if you just tuned in, hey Mary Jane, welcome. I know you're usually on Instagram, and I can't be on Instagram today through no fault of my own. I'm glad to see you here on Facebook. If you just tuned in, if you want a card, just type the word meow in the chat. Our card for everyone is the Ouroboros, or the Wheel of Fortune. And our message is, it's a little deeper. That's why I'm reading with this deck today. It's the Mystical Dream Tarot by Janet Piedletto. The message is a little deeper than just allowing ourselves to receive the blessings of the universe, which is really what the Wheel of Fortune is about. The Wheel of Fortune says anything can happen, right? Allow it to be. Allow it to be so. Anything can happen. And specifically with this Ouroboros imagery in this deck, anything can happen when we turn inward rather than outward to show up for ourselves in our best lives. When we tune in for our own rawest, realist self, when we choose to honor and embrace and protect ourselves, wrapping around ourselves like a snake eating itself, when we choose to do that, it's like magic happens in the external part of our lives, because the new energy that we are bringing, the energy that says, I matter, my gifts matter, I have something to contribute to the world that is special, and I'm going to nurture it and protect it like a loving parent. When we show up to the world with that energy, the world around us, the people we encounter, sense the change in us and respond differently, and we get dramatic and lasting, powerful change in our lives. So your quest this month, everybody as a collective, your quest is to be true to yourselves. Your quest is to honor your inner self. Your quest is to honor both your inner vulnerability and your inner desires and your inner gifts. All of them, all the parts of yourself. We're not picking and choosing, right? We're not saying, oh, all these parts of myself except for this part that's unworthy. We're not hating on the ego. We don't do that on my broadcast. The ego is an important part of ourselves. It gives us a sense of who we are. It's not an evil thing. It's not like lower value or less evolved or less aware. It's just a part of who we are, right? We're honoring all the parts of who we are, and when we do so, and when we show up to the world saying, you know, I still have work to do on myself, as we all do, but I'm in for me. I'm in to protect me. I'm in to love me the same way we love our friends exactly as they are, not asking them to change and become perfect overnight, right? When we love ourselves that way as well, the world gives us change. The world gives us the change that will allow us to keep doing that better and better. The great unknowns, hello, meowing, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I've got a bunch of people tuned in. I've got a bunch of people who have asked for a card. If you would like a card, drop a cat in the chat or write the word meow. We're going until noon today. I'm tuned in from New York, so that's Eastern time. So about the next 35 minutes. Hey, Anna, welcome. It's so good to see you. And I am going to go over to Discord and just see if any of my patrons have requested a card so I can give them a card. And then I'm going to just go down the list. Yep, Grayson, I was going to pull it. To be honest, Grayson, I kind of have it in my head because you're pretty good about like every month going like, hey, can I have a card, please? I pretty much always have it in my head to pull your card first. Grayson's one of my Sassafras Tarot patrons. Card, please. How can I get motivated to unpack now that I've moved? Oh, Grayson, same. Like I'm broadcasting from a very specific part of my new place that does not have a visual of boxes. However, this is not the majority of scenes in my new place. Anna, that was me on YouTube. Just switched to Facebook. Nice. Greetings. Okay. Thank you for telling me so I didn't inadvertently pull 2 cards for a mystery person. Okay, Grayson, how can I get motivated to unpack and get settled now that I've moved? Here for you. Here for that question. Grayson, your answer is the 3 of Wands. I mean, a little bit, this is an obnoxious tarot moment because the tarot is telling you to just do it. The tarot is telling you to go forth and do it and that you will be glad you did, basically. But I'll delve a little bit into this imagery. We have this image of these 2 seekers, these 2 questers who are almost look like the lovers because there's this kind of slightly bride and groom energy here. And they're here and they're questing, they're like hiking through this kind of like unknown land, right? And before them is this big, like iconic being who is standing between 2 staffs. And the message I believe we are meant to take away from this is like they're honoring something bigger that is within both of them. They're honoring a larger truth. This iconic being is like at once something they can learn from as well as something they are a part of, and that showing up for themselves in this way, doing this type of quest into the unknown is specifically what is going to help with their personal evolution. It's what is going to help them evolve, what is going to help them turn into their biggest and best selves, what is going to help them on their spiritual journey as well as their personal journey. And the way I interpret that for you, Grayson, is that the act of unpacking in a new place, it's like you have this ability to look within, look at yourself in a very physical, real way in a new context. And the act of you simultaneously, I recommend that you don't just like hermit and unpack, that you spend some time also getting to know your new landscape and unpack at the same time, you know, or, you know, in the same day. Probably you can't physically do it at the same time, right? Because you have to be home to unpack. But doing a little bit of both, that comparison, this is me and my life up to this point. This is the new context that I'm living in, will help you understand yourself better. So understand that unpacking is not just a mundane thing. Yeah, there is a mundane thing about it, but also it's a big part of allowing yourself to fully embrace this change. When you have unpacked and allowed yourself to be in the physical world and faced, like literally, we're talking unpacking, moving Moving is psychological, y'all. I know because I just did it. It will confront you with parts of yourself. It will confront you with fears. It will confront you with hopes. It will confront you with ideas, right? It will confront you with all of this. And when you allow yourself to do that simultaneously as you're exploring your new landscape, you learn who you are in this new context, and you are able to like do some shadow work and integrate parts of yourself that maybe you weren't able to before. It's a beautiful opportunity. So know that as you unpack, you're not just doing this mundane thing that lets you settle in. You are, but also you're furthering your own personal journey. You're learning who you can be, who the biggest version of you can be as you do this. So know that it's not, know that it is it's like a personal spiritual thing, not just a mundane thing that you're doing, and possibly approaching it in that way, allowing yourself to, as you unpack, maybe you don't have to unpack swiftly and methodically. Maybe you can unpack in a way that allows you to kind of take side trips down memory lane and experience that kind of confrontation with your current self and your new landscape, and just see what that brings up for you. Maybe this can be kind of a psycho-spiritual journey for you. I hope that is helpful. I remember, Shelby, that you got that card last time with that deck, and the beetle looks like it's landed on the card. Yeah, thank you for pointing out the beetle. It's symbolic of change. It's a scarab. I've been being stalked by beetles for a few weeks. I will say it's like a little bit, it seems to be beetle season, because me too. I just moved into a new place. It's a ground level apartment, and there was just some like pretty serious work done on the front yard out here. So as a result, the bugs have they've been exploring. Kaylee, my cat, is a lot more excited about this than I am. But yeah, that is a thing that is happening. So I too have been being stalked by beetles and lightning bugs, which is adorable. It's funny because lightning bugs are basically beetles with a weird glowy butt, right? But I love, like I see a lightning bug and I'm like, oh, look at you. How'd you get in here, you silly goose? And I see a beetle and I'm like, absolutely not. And it's like, as a human being, why do I place such value on one and not the other, The beetle on the card breaks the fourth wall and confronts the reader. Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, I love this. All right, I am going to begin pulling cards for everyone. If you just tuned in, the card for everyone, the collective, is the Wheel of Fortune, or in this deck, the Ouroboros. The more we turn inward, the more outward change we get this month. Like, that's the big takeaway. The more we honor ourselves and our true gifts and our true selves, not how we wish we were, not how we, want to present ourselves. The more we honor our real selves as is, the more we love our imperfect, raw, gifted selves, the more the external change happens faster and faster in our lives. Hydration checkpoint. Okay, next up we have Shelby, and then Chaka, and then Nancy, and then other people are on deck, so don't worry. Cheers, y'all. Unless you're bringing light, you have no place in here. That's so, like, that is like how I act to the lightning bugs and the beetles. And that feels like toxic positivity. I would never say that. It's like positive vibes only. Only I'm saying it to literal insects who can't understand me. Like, who is the problem here? Perhaps it's me. Cheers, y'all. There have been a lot of lightning bugs on Long Island, at least. There's been just a lot of lightning bugs this year. And we've been hearing a lot in past years about how, fireflies, lightning bugs might die out, and we need to be more mindful and leave the leaves for a little longer, and other factors that are making it hard for them to compete and exist or whatever. But this year there seem to be so many lightning bugs, and I'm curious to know whether we did it, because sometimes that happens. Do you remember in the 90s we heard about the hole in the ozone layer? Did you know that we fixed it? Because we all heard about the problem and what we were supposed to do and things about aerosol cans and all of that, and it's better now. Not that there aren't still environmental problems, right? I'm not glossing over the realities of climate change, but that particular hole in the ozone layer is repaired. The change that was needed did happen. And I wonder if that happened with the lightning bugs, or if we're just getting a lucky lightning bug year. I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, This one's for you, Shelby. This is the card that seems to want to pull itself. It's the Master of Secrets. The Magician in most deck, but I feel like the Master of Secrets, this is the vibe with this deck. See, it's like, it's called the Mystic Dream Tarot. It was made by someone who both knows the tarot and channeled imagery from their dreams. So some of the cards have weird names and weird imagery. And I love that intersection. And the Master of Secrets, Shelby, like, wow, does this speak to who you are? And in particular, when we meld this with the imagery of the Magician, look at the Magician, like, he has this very typical altar of, representations of fire, water, earth, air. He's in this cave, right? In this place where he can do his work in a way that is uninterrupted by the outside world. And he also has this lightning bolt. And look what's happening with the lightning bolt. I'm going to hold it up close for you. Literally, he is holding this lightning bolt. It is piercing through the top of the cave. Like it's like you can run, but you can't hide from this insight, right? Like, and pair that with the title, The Master of Secrets. It's like, no matter where you are, the truth is there, and the truth is going to impact your work. And so you have to make this choice to work with the truth with your own two hands, right? The truth sets us free. Much more than that, when we are fully in our truth and fully in the external truth. And here's what I mean by that. Our truth, meaning like our truest selves, right? Who we really are, not the mask we give to the world, our realest selves. And our external truth, like being real about shit, like acknowledging our reality, because it doesn't help us to pretend things are other than they are, right? And when we're fully in our truth and fully in our external truth, we can look at that collection of information and make something out of it, right? Like your own two hands are the answer to every problem when you're willing to look at things real, right? And that is the energy here as the Master of Secrets. Like, you can work your way out of this by looking at what is real and deciding how you will work with it. And you have great skill and experience in that area. All you have to do is be honest with yourself, and the solutions will become apparent, and you will know how to execute them. That is the energy. You're the Master of Secrets, babe. Love it, love it, love it. Hannah says, man cave in a good way. Wow, the first time I've ever felt positive about that phrase in my entire life. Hey, Eileen, welcome. Not even holding it, like being struck. I want that deck. Yeah, it's a great deck. I love it. It's called the Mystical Dream Tarot. Okay, next on deck, we got Chaka. After Chaka, we got Nancy. And after Nancy, we got Jerry. Okay. When you break down the walls, you get access to more, but clearing the rubble. Yeah. I mean, you're describing like the tower to the star journey. I'll take a minute and tell you all, in the major arcana of the tarot, we have the tower, which that has made its way a little bit into the public lexicon now. Like the tower, having a tower moment is when the tower burns down. Something that you relied on to stay stable and strong crumbles, right? So you wake up one day, the tower is like the opposite of the Wheel of Fortune. It's like, oh shit, anything can happen, and it did, right? When the tower crumbles, now you can see the beautiful moonlight because the tower burned down, right? So it's like, it gives you both that like appreciation for like, wow, my horizons are expanded. I have a greater understanding of myself. I have a greater understanding of my world. I have hope. I have this kind of mystical once in a lifetime experience. And also the tower burned down and I'm surrounded by rubble. Oh no. both, right? The beautiful awareness as well as, oh God. Oh no, this. Thursday tower, Friday star, in that order. Ooh, wow, yeah. Yeah, that is the order in which they appear in the deck, and that's an important lesson, I think, for people to remember in their tower moments. Like, they're about to get the light of the star. They're about to see exactly, like, yeah, the barn is burned down, but now you know exactly what to do, and it's unfettered by maintaining that false stability, that house of cards. Okay, Chaka, this is a card for you. The card is the Four of Cups. And we have this represented by these like angels of fate. Now, usually the three sisters of fate or the weird sisters are represented as a threeness, as three sisters. And the reason I say this is because if you look closely, these three angels are like working with the threads of fate in a circle, right? And there's like, this top one has a spindle She's letting fate unwind, but fate is unwinding back around the circle to her, indicating this like circular reality, right? Where we travel the path. She's actually got two spindles and she's like braiding them together. We travel the path of our reality and it's a circle, and we come full circle and we learn more things about ourselves and we go around the circle again. And so it's to remind you that your path is not a one-way unfolding of chaos where you just kind of like walk through life and you're like, cool, now this, now this, oh God, now this, wow, look at that. It's a circle. And if you're willing to look at it that way and embrace it as a positive, right? Like, oh, this is a road I've traveled a couple times before. It takes me a long time to get around the circle, so I don't always recognize it, right? By the time I get to this part of the circle where I have been before, like a new IKEA has popped up on the side of the road, right? The exit numbers are different, right? There's different people living in this part of the circle, right? But I have been here before, right? And it allows us to recognize patterns and cycles in our lives. Pattern recognition is what allows us to move through life without feeling like we're just being tossed about like fate. Like, oh, whatever happens, crap, right? Pattern recognition. We're like, wait, I have been here before. And I can remember what helped then and what super didn't help then, and I can make some good choices. So you're walking this cycle and you're making new choices. And remember with the Four of Cups, like pay attention in particular to shit that doesn't feel good. Because the Four of Cups really indicates areas in life where in the past we have settled. We have allowed ourselves to be not our full selves, to be less than fulfilled, to be less than our potential, because we're like, well, this is good enough and I don't want to rock the boat, right? The Four of Cups, we're going on that journey. Pay attention to the areas in your life that feel kind of like a bummer, because if you're paying attention and recognizing the patterns correctly, you can break out of the bummer cycle. You can make a different choice, right? As you walk this path and have things go in a way that feels more fulfilling to you. That is the message. Chaka says, sometimes life really is a circle and a cycle. Been revisiting old chakas lately for hints and tips for future chakas. I love that. I recommend that. We do that in my Moon Magic Club, in my meditation club. We like literally have a council of like older versions of ourselves, like past versions of ourselves and our highest self and us. I love that. I love that. Yeah, helps to see we're on the verge of who you're becoming. Yeah. All right, next up we got Nancy, and then we got Jerry on deck. And then after that, I'm scrolling, we have Mary Jane. And if you ask for a card, don't worry, you're getting one. You're getting one. I'm just getting them to you in the order they were received. Okay. Nancy, this card is for you. If any of y'all had questions, I don't think I saw any questions as it came through, but if any of y'all have a specific question, feel free, just let me know. I got you. Nancy, this is the card for you. It's the Ace of Cups. And look, too, how there is this Lover's energy here, this Two of Cups energy in the Ace of Cups, suggesting what is to come. We have these two big swan, heron-like creatures kind of guarding these two. And we know that, like, big birds like this, they look like they are, like, big like swans, but they look actually like they're, like, herons or egrets, like wading birds. And if you've ever actually seen wading birds, they're really cool. They just stand in the water and looking real chill, like often at lowish tide. They just kind of stand in the water like they're wading in, like the water's up their feet a little bit, but not super deep. And they just kind of look around and they look like they're having a nice chill beach day. And then a fish comes and then they're like, arr, you know, and they got the fish. And they are very precise with how they use their energy, right? They're like a beautiful statue, and many people take pictures of like egrets and cranes, which are all, and herons, which are all like in the same family. They take photos of them because they photograph so well. They look so beautifully graceful when they're standing waiting. And then they're very precise and effective at when they see the fish they want to spear with their pointy beak. They're like, boom, I do it, right? And we see this sense of your new emotional beginning, Nancy, represented by, you know, these two, represented by the Lovers, represented by, look at all of those beautiful pink roses representing healing. Roses are heart healers. Your new beginning, your emotional healing is like being protected by these birds that like look like beautiful statuesque birds, but the second there's trouble, like they got your back. So you can allow yourself to unfold, to know that these new emotional truths that you're finding are protected. You can know that you're in a safe space, in the garden, so to speak, right? You can know that you are being looked after, so that in this safe circle, in this embrace, you can have your journey. You don't have to push and fight and deal with all of the usual kind of like grindy realities. You can have your emotional journey safely protected. We had a young great blue heron in our yard last year. When you come down, we should try to make time to go to the Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge. I would love that. I would love that. That would be amazing. I'm so excited. By the way, Nancy, I got your cookies. I didn't get to thank you for them because Melissa got them, and then we had to wait till we could get together and both remember. So my cookies have been in the very loving care of Melissa, and I got them and brought them home last night and I had my first one. First of all, they're delicious. Y'all, Nancy makes the best lavender cookies. Oh my goodness, they're so good. And lavender sugar with them. And your card is on my fridge in my new space. So I just want to say thank you so much. All right, this is a card for Jerry. Jerry, your card is the moon. Feeling battered about by the universe lately, because look at the moon, and we think of the moon as ruling the tides, and we see this like house, this stability being tossed about by the waves, right? You think of a house as something that is stable and stays in one place, and instead, like a boat, is being tossed about by the waves. Now, I will tell you, this is actually a good thing. Better for your house, for your stability, to be a boat that is tossed about by the waves than for it to stay stuck in one place and simply get flooded until you can't live there anymore, right? Sometimes this very chaos that we go through is actually what's keeping you afloat. Sometimes life forcing you to change is actually healthy adaptation and evolution. And yes, it feels crazy, right? When we are under the influence of the moon, first of all, the moon gets pretty scary when it's big and close. We're like, what the hell is that big space rock doing to me, right? When we're under the influence of the moon, everything is lit up, but it's lit up weird. It feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable. And at once, it's because it is unfamiliar, we're dealing with the new, and because it is actually familiar, right? When things challenge us, parts of ourselves come online from old versions of ourselves, from the last time things were scary like this, right? And we find the familiar landscape of our fear, our anxiety, our triggers, right? And when we get tossed about, we're like, oh gosh, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. Suddenly my house is a boat. Right? What's happening is that you are, the universe is giving you the opportunity to adapt. It's giving you the opportunity to not continue to go down a path that was not going to work out, where if the house was just standing still and didn't change, it would just get flooded and you couldn't live in that house anymore, right? Unless you were a fish, which you're not. But because you are being tossed about by the waves, allowing your house to become a boat, and the metaphor here is like allowing yourself to become a little more flexible. Things that you thought were like the way it had to be for you, now that you are learning to adapt about those things, it feels like it knocks your feet out from under you. It's scary because it's a new way of looking at the world, but it's actually teaching you how to survive. And so this scary time when everything seems uncertain and untrustworthy, yeah, you are entering into a landscape that is a little more uncertain, that maybe is uncharted territory. But as it's happening, the world is teaching you how to survive in the new landscape. So trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the big space rock. It's got your back. All right, let's see who is on deck. We got Mary Jane. We got Anna, and we got Carol. Actually, I'm going to read for you first, Carol. I don't usually like skip the line with people. It is Carol's birthday. I'm like, I should have read her card right away. All right, Carol, I'm pulling a card for you. Happy birthday. Everybody sent birthday love to Carol. And then we got Mary Jane, and then we got Anna. Happy friggin' birthday. I hope you have a wonderful year. I hope this year is your best yet. Carol, you have also been given the Master of Secrets. Look at this magician guy in his little cave. It really is. This lunatic thanks you. That's a great response, Jerry. Enjoy the lunacy. Sink into it. The universe has told you to enjoy the lunacy. That's your new stock excuse. My tarot reader told me to enjoy the lunacy. Okay, sorry, back to you, Carol. We have the Master of Secrets. Second time this card is making an appearance. Look at the lightning coming in through the cave. Look, so you have this space of safety that you have created for yourself, where you can access your best self and your gifts, where you can safely, because you've created for yourself like this cave, this cavern of, yep, I can just be here and be myself here without interference, right? You can access your gifts, your inner self, your vulnerable parts, as well as your very experimental parts, the parts of you that stretch the boundaries a little bit with your gifts, as you see new possibilities that maybe you couldn't see if you kind of had everybody and their mother looking over your shoulder, right? We have that blessed solitude. You have the safety of solitude to be able to do your work in peace. And what I mean by doing your work is like doing the work, looking at yourself, looking at your life, making those choices, and also the work of like bringing your gifts to the world, right? The work of like, what does it look like to meet my own personal potential, to live in a way that is both the most fulfilling to me and allows my gifts to shine through? Because I believe that that to me is where purpose lies, is where we feel like, yes, I'm being my meest me. I am living the life that I most desire to live. And also it is benefiting others because that is where my gifts lie. And so it is also showing the way for others or doing something of service to others, right? That's purpose. That's where purpose lies. And you get to see that and commune with your purpose in solitude. It's important to be able to set aside the time to do that in solitude, because when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, it tends to muddy the water. What a horrible mixed metaphor. But I think you know what I mean. However, you are being pierced by this lightning of truth. So it's like, yes, you're in your safe space. You get to make some decisions, but also like the truth is piercing your cavern. And so like, whether you like it or not, you're like, here is my safe space to do my thing, but I have to deal with the truth of reality. I have to deal with the truth of everything that is happening around me, my own truth plus the external truth. And that is what allows you to progress, to evolve, to move forward. And we see that mostly the magician's still in a safe space. He just also has to deal with this big lightning. And this lightning can be his friend or his foe. He can be like, God damn it, this lightning friggin' made a hole in my beautiful cave. Or he can be like, wow, this lightning is coming down and it's an element that I couldn't have created myself. What a blessing, right? And doesn't it feel like that sometimes when life hands us wild change, right? Or wild new truths or wild things we hadn't thought about before and now we have to deal with. On the one hand, you're like, excuse you. I'm trying to live in my beautiful cave. And on the other hand, it usually lights the way for you. When we accept the external truth alongside our internal truth, that's when we can make big change happen. So as the Master of Secrets, honor yourself in your space. Deal with the realities of the outside in your safe world. Understand that, yes, they will be coming through. You can't hide from truth. You can't hide from the reality. But when you're in your safe space that you've cultivated for yourself, you will know exactly what to do and you will ascend to a higher level. And by the way, everyone, if you tuned in and didn't hear this, the card for everyone this month is the Ouroboros, or the Wheel of Fortune, where when we nurture our inner reality, our outer reality changes. And that's specifically the thing, nurturing our inner reality. This doesn't mean making ourselves stagnant. It doesn't mean living in our comfort zone. It means giving ourselves enough comfort that we can evolve. Because the type of evolution that takes place, like I take big issue with people who say change starts outside your comfort zone. Yeah, you know what else starts outside your comfort zone? Trauma. Do you want to make all your change trauma-based? Because I've done that and I don't recommend it, right? Giving yourself enough comfort, enough nourishment so that you have and become a safe space for yourself to recoup and recover and not have to constantly be made raw by the outside world allows evolution to happen. And we can't actually be vulnerable and expand our own boundaries, our own vulnerability, our own comfort zone unless we have a comfort zone. right? We are meant to lovingly stretch beyond our comfort zone the way a child learns different things and learns how to ride a bike and learns new skills about engaging with the world little by little, right? One step at a time, because too much is overwhelming, right? And they do that ideally with the loving guidance of their caretakers, right? Who are like, let me show you something that might scare you a little, but we're going to learn a little bit today. And then we're going to go do something that feels good. And I'm going to tell you did a great job, right? You don't have to like just be thrown into the water, right? And when we treat ourselves that way, when we reparent ourselves and say, we're going to learn a little bit today, we're going to grow a little bit today, and also we're going to give ourselves comfort, and also we're going to love ourselves and nurture ourselves through it, that is the way the most truest growth, the growth that is truest to ourselves, and also the growth that is least traumatic occurs, right? Little by little, trusting ourselves that self-care is a necessary ingredient in our growth. And when we do that, when we show up for our truest, rawest, realest self, unflinchingly, magical change happens. It appears that it's by magic that our outside world changes. And really what's happening is the way we're relating to it changes. So we both see possibilities we couldn't before. We see things we can say where we thought we had to stay stuck in one response, things we can do that are new. And we also show the world around us what type of treatment we will and won't accept, and the world adjusts. The people who would treat us differently than we will accept kind of fall out of our lives because those relationships are no longer functioning, you know? So when we show up for our inner world, we get massive outer change. That is the takeaway for us today. Spot on. Appreciate the read. Always happy to. By the way, Nancy over on Facebook is wishing you a happy birthday. Okay, who else is on deck? I'm sorry, I have been jumping around. Let's see who else I got to get to. I've got Mary Jane and I've got Anna. And if either of you have a particular question, please let me know. That's who I see. If I missed you, if you asked for a card and I missed you, put it in the chat right now because I don't want to miss you. Mary Jane, this card's for you. Pulling a card for you. This card wants to be read right now. It's the Four of Cups again. Look at these sisters walking around the threads of fate. Now I'm gonna point something out to you. Are these sisters, right, similar to each other? The way we think of, immediately I perceive them as sisters because of the weird sisters, the three sisters who work with the threads of fate. But are they sisters or are they different versions of yourself along your journey, right? And can we see that it's different parts of you are taking different actions? This top person is unspooling these two threads and letting them braid together into one cord of fate, right? Taking different influences, perhaps the influence from above, from outside, external to ourselves, and then influence from below, as above so below, these two threads, moving them out into the universe, allowing the journey, right? Almost representing this part of ourselves that says, I'm going to dive in and try the new thing. I'm putting myself, so below, into the big wide world as above, right? And I'm doing it in faith that it's going to be a worthwhile journey to take. I don't know what will happen on this journey. And then as we go, we see that one sister or version of ourselves has a staff to help us travel along and perhaps fend off any trouble, right? And then this other version of ourselves here at the bottom is in surrender, in this infinity symbol of the thread, just going I'm surrendering to reality, right? I'm not trying to change it. I'm learning surrender. And finally, we have a sister here with scissors, where she's and I'm cutting some cords that don't work for me anymore, right? Yes, I surrender to reality because the journey is important. And also, if I know something's toxic for me, snip, snip. It's not my job to surrender to a reality that's harmful to me. No, thank you, right? And it represents these stages of our personal evolution that, by the way, we're meant to go through again and again in a circle, right? We don't spend our whole life surrendering. We don't spend our whole life cutting ties. We don't spend our whole life kind of pushing through on guard as the sister with the thing that, is doing. We don't spend our whole life in our spiritual, as above, so below meditation. We do all of these things at different times, right? And that is how we grow, right? Different parts of ourselves come forward, different emotional responses come forward throughout our journey to create the full picture. And when the Four of Cups comes up, the question is it time for you to do something new? Any of these, like I give you the menu, right? The menu of surrender. And I love surrender sometimes, right? But I also ask you to be cautious about what you're surrendering to. I don't like the idea of surrendering to fate, because who the hell are you to say what fate is, right? People talk about surrendering to fate, and it's like, how can you have the audacity to assume that you know what fate wants you to do, right? Surrendering to fate, I think, is code word for settling sometimes. But surrendering and making a choice, saying, I surrender to my higher power, if you believe in a higher power, or if you just look at it as your highest self, your wisest self. I surrender to my inner wisdom, right? I surrender to the truth. I acknowledge the truth even though I don't like it, right? Making a choice to surrender to something that is a little more specific can be healthy. And sometimes surrendering to the truth makes us see, I have to cut some ties, right? Like it's time to snip. It's time to do some editing. And sometimes in order to move forward, we have to just have a moment where we're outside of reality and we like decide, which way shall I walk? And sometimes we're just doing the walk. And the Four of Cups represents all these things coming together. So I ask you, what time is it on your journey right now? Do you want to be surrendering? Do you want to be doing the walk, walking the walk, talking the talk? Do you want to be considering your next move, which is represented by the woman with the spools? Do you want to do some editing in your life? None of these choices are wrong. But often when the Four of Cups comes up, it's time to make a new one. It's just time to select a new one. What has gotten stagnant, and what energy will help you unstagnate? And any of these choices are good ones. Just decide the one that feels right to you. Meow, meow. Anna, you are on deck, and I believe you are the last one. I believe you are it. If there's anyone else I have missed, you tell me, friends. Loving reading with this deck today. I'm so glad that I chose it. It's a little different than a lot of tarot decks, and I love the intersection. For me, it speaks deeply to how I like to read the tarot, which is, if you've ever taken a tarot class with me or an intuition class, you know that it's a mix of the practical skills, the practical knowledge of the tarot, the traditional meanings, as well as accessing our own intuition and allowing those two to paint a picture. And I feel like this deck was created in such a way, and I love it. Anna, I'm pulling your card. Here it is. It's the Eight of Wands. Anna, I just want to talk about wounding and pain right now, because I'm seeing this like big person who looks to me like Justice or Lady Liberty. And big, meaning like your biggest self, your biggest, highest self. And I see this wound, right? We see this like, it's like this like fiery cog at the center. And you might look at it as being like a part of your identity, a part of who you are. But I see it as being like off center, and kind of like the threads of fate, you know, have made you deal with pain, have made you struggle. I also see loss here, because we see the threads of fate like tied to a coffin. She's in a circle of fire, and you can see on the one hand she's so much bigger than the situation around her, and also that she has faced hardship. And so this is just this, with the Eight of Wands, things are changing, and you are big enough to change the situation. And even more than that, allowing yourself to look at the bigness of the situation is much better for you than allowing yourself to be distilled into this like repeating story, right? The Eight of Wands is an opportunity for change. We have all these threads of fate coming together, and you can choose to surrender to staying in the circle and staying like, I can't get out of this, and choose to believe that. Eights are a choice where we choose what we believe about ourselves and our potential, right? Or we can choose to realize, wow, I'm bigger than this. And even though there are some things that kind of fucking suck, I can move forward. Even though there are things that I would not have chosen for myself, I can choose for myself now. I can't choose to erase it all and start over, but I can choose in my bigness to decide how I will show up for myself and how and where I will go, how and where I will move forward in my life. So the Eight of Wands is giving you choices. Change is coming. Winds of change are coming. And what you need to know is that you are still bigger than the situation. You're still in charge. So I urge you to come to this from a place of remembering your bigness, remembering your power, and knowing that as the change comes, you will have opportunities for growth and opportunities to stay stuck and opportunities to heal and opportunities to almost embrace your wounds as if like they're my only friend now, I can't let them go, which doesn't help, right? It's understandable, honestly. It's like a trauma bond, you know? But you have many opportunities of different paths you can take, and your only job is to keep your eyes open. Your only job is to keep your eyes open and know I'm big enough to make the right choice. I have the power to make good choices, and I'm getting new choices, and to just take steps as stumbling as you like in the right direction, right? You don't have to like fix it all overnight. You just have to be like, change is happening. Here's the lay of the land. All I know is a couple steps that way might be the right start. And that's it. You don't have to figure it out all at once, right? Your whole job is just to look around you and say, I'm bigger than this situation. I begin walking in the direction I want to go. Maybe I wish I had a friggin' plane to airlift me out of here, but I can take the steps. That is the whole thing, because change is coming to you. The Eight of Wands is always change, and there are elements here that suggest to me that it might be hard to see the change and accept that there is change available to you. So I want you to look at your life from like eagle view, from up high. Know that you are bigger than the shit that has kept you stuck. Eileen, thank you for the reminder. Eileen, I'm pulling a card for you right now. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to scroll past you. Here's your card, Eileen. Eileen, you also have received the Eight of Wands. Looking down. You notice when two people get the same card, I don't give them the same reading because they're not the same people and they're not in the same situation. And I usually take a moment to on purpose tune into my intuition at that time to ask myself how this card is different for this new person. Looking down at the life around you. You have a lot going on. You have all these threads coming at you, right? We do see pain. We do see loss here. We see some threads that are attached pretty strongly to grief. We also see a thread kind of attached to this pain and almost maybe identifying with this pain. It's in your solar plexus, maybe having a difficulty separating certain types of pain, physical, emotional, whatever, from who you are. Who am I without this pain? Especially if it's pain that you felt all your life, right? The pain of not getting a need met can be a pain we feel our whole lives, right? Because we don't know what it feels like to get that need met until we get it met, right? And so we may mistakenly identify ourselves with the pain. Or the pain of a situation that is painful and toxic to us. We may mistakenly identify ourselves with that. It's like someone who leaves a toxic relationship, a toxic household, and finds out, wait, I'm not the person I thought I was. That's just who I was when I lived there because I was experiencing that toxic pain. And now that I'm out of that influence, I have to revise my identity of myself, right? What are you identifying with? What I'm seeing is that you're bigger and you have choices. We have all these different threads that come together. None of them are you. Now, some of them have really been stuck to you. There is pain, there is loss. You have been like out of the frying pan into the fire, right? You have had to be very adaptive, but you're also bigger than it and standing over it and looking at all of it. The question is, what's you in this equation, right? And just like an invitation to not identify with the pain and with the grief. Not that you didn't go through those things and they didn't shape you, right? Be real, allow yourself to have had your experiences and be kind about them, but that doesn't mean it's who you are. That is what happened to you, and what happened to you, this is for you, Anna, too, if it's helpful, because you got the same card. What happened to you is not the same thing as who you are. And as you know, Learning who you are is a discovery practice as well as a decision practice, right? There are times when we decide who we will be. There are times we look at the situation and say, well, who do I want to be in this situation? That's how I will act in my integrity. And there are times when we learn who we are. There are times when we realize we have untold strength or untold vulnerabilities, right? It's both. We learn who we are and we decide who we are at every given moment. And you are big enough to continue that learning and continue that decision making without needing to tie yourself to what has happened to you. What has happened to you is the story. Who you are is your core, the character, right? A character is not what happened to them. They can be shaped by it, right? But they can also make choices to rise and live beyond it. And that's where you're at right now. Change is coming. Always change is coming. And always change makes us aware also of the things that have been with us for a very long time. And we ask ourselves, is it time to make this change? Is it, if I make this change, does this other part of my life drop away? And we might feel different things about that. We might feel anticipation. We might feel joy. We might feel fear. We might feel all of the above sometimes. It's really just, the message here is you're bigger than what's happened to you. Choose and discover who you are and let it be your biggest self. Hi, Aria. We've gone over, and I was supposed to stop at 12, but I will totally draw you a card. I totally will. I'm pulling a card for you right now. This is going to be the last card, everybody. By the way, if you like this energy, I often run classes about self-care and intuition and, discovering your abilities, whether it's tarot or whether it's self-care or whether it's shadow work. I'm not running any at the moment because it's a busy season for me, but I do have a Moon Magic and Meditation Club that happens every Monday at 11 a.m. It's happening in 2 days. And we work with the moon cycles together. We do a meditation every single week. So if you want to get into a meditation practice, it's a great opportunity to get into that meditation practice with us. And just like it's a way that you are meditating at least once a week. Boom, there's your meditation practice, right? And you can do more if you want to. And we talk about how to work with the energy of the moon. I pull a tarot card for us each moon cycle so that we can have our own cycles of growth, both individual and as a collective. We all support each other as well. And we do witchy shit together. It's a very good vibe. And if you would like to be a part of that, that's the other thing I'm doing right now that I'm putting my energy into. And you can get that information at tinyurl.com/Monday Moon. Some of my moon sisters are here with me today in the chat. Thanks for showing up. I'll see you also on Monday. But if you would like to learn more, it's $11.11 a month to join. I'd love to have you in the collective. All right, on to our last card for Aria. Aria, your card is the 9 of Wands. Have you been through it? Because it feels like you've been through it. It feels like there has been so much going on, like you've been through the mill. And we have this energy of like you being very strong, right? You're represented by this guy who's almost like a stag with like a sword. You have had to be strong. And your back is against the wall, but the wall here is a tree. You found other strength as well. You have found what it looks like to be stable in this very challenging situation that has demanded strength. And I can see there is a part of you that's like, will I ever get out of this? Or even the question that keeps coming up is it all over? And that's a loaded question. Is it all over can mean, am I never going to get through this? It's all over. My chances are shot. Or it can mean, is it finally over? Am I finally out the other side? And I think you might be asking that question in both directions right now, right? Is it over yet? And also, oh God, is it all over for me? Right? And the truth is, you are coming to the end of a cycle that has asked a lot of you, right? And yes, you have had to be strong. And yes, there are ways in which you should still be on your guard. You should still look out for yourself. Maintain your boundaries. This is not a time to slip into letting people get under your skin and influence you in a way that you know is not right for you. Right? This is a time to maintain your strength, but know that you will not have to for much longer. You have faced the majority of your challenges. We're in the home stretch, in other words. So stay strong, because you won't have to stay strong for very much longer, but it's really worth it to continue to show up for yourself. You've been doing the right thing. You just haven't gotten to the other side of it yet. So don't doubt yourself. Instead, take heart and know that you're in the final stretch. right? You're in the final stretch, and then you will get to rest. You will get to take care. You will get the new cycle. And you can see that represented too by these seeds at the feet of the person here. These seeds will grow into the new reality. The current reality that you're in has led you to a place where you've had to be quite self-protective, where you've had to be quite strong, where you've had to be on guard. And these seeds along the way that have fallen will create a new reality that is not quite so painful and demanding. So it's worth holding true to yourself. Hold fast, because you will get to the other side of this faster than you think. And the phrase I'm going to give you is one a friend gave to me at the beginning of my divorce, which has helped me a lot. And that phrase is slower than you'd like, faster than you think. Slower than you'd like, faster than you think. So lean into that energy. Keep being strong for yourself. You will not have to be for too much longer. Here, blessed be. Thanks a bunch. You're very welcome. Such a beautiful name, Aria. Sending you love and wishing you all the best. Oh, I love this community so much. Y'all, thank you for hanging out with me. This has been the Witchy Weather Report. Remember, for all of us, we got the Wheel of Fortune, and that tells us to show up in a nurturing and loving way for ourselves, and knowing that when we turn inward and give ourselves the love and journey that we need and deserve, that we see seemingly magical external change happen. And it has to do with the inner shift is what's actually needed to activate the external shift. The answers are within, not without. And you will see external change come as a result of doing this work. But right now, we're turning inward. We're nurturing our truest self. We're being real with ourselves. We're honoring our truth, not who we wished we should be, not who we think we should be, not how it could have been. We're honoring our truth, our truest selves. And as we show up with love for that part of ourselves, for our entire selves, our horizons expand and the world changes, and we get the change we want. It's an inside job. All right, my loves, have a wonderful. I'll see you again soon. Farewell, farewell.